We're looking at pretty much a 4-day continuous rain forecast that bottoms of fields, even those that drain really well, are probably in for some trouble if any of this comes close to true. So in a week's time, we're probably going to be starting to talk about surveying, how many of these early acres have some potentially substantial loss.
Today we'll probably run till darker a little after, so 7 or 8 probably. We've got, well, I just ordered 12 lunches, so we got about 12 guys going, and about 9 of those are on tractors. And then I'm floating around, and I got a couple other guys floating around doing the levee gates and doing some levee gates and some other drainage things. We have, some preemptive work.
Start this year, we've had a great opportunity starting with the middle of March to really get a jump on planting progress. Corn obviously first out of the gate, and since then rice starting to take off more, and finally now some beans officially on the board. The dry conditions that were there frankly started to roll over to 2 dry conditions throughout that, having to plant seed a little bit deeper to find moisture and drive things. But we've got corn out of the ground, we've got beans out of the ground now, some of the earliest rice is out of the ground. So we're standing here talking about this on April 1st. Well, I mean, this is on technically March 31. Some of all those crops were emerged out of the ground. So that early warm, dry weather certainly setting a tone, but now looking forward, and immediately what we have coming up is this period of rain that's coming that looks pretty massive.
We're trying to cover some ground, get a bunch of groundwork for rice, and we finished planting corn yesterday, so we got finished pulling drains, and we didn't want to plant much more rice in front of this big rain. That way we didn't have any problem with our levees going forward, try to save some man hours there, but we're just trying to get some ground prep, finish prepping ground for rice, and then get a little big ground work for going into beans.
These rains, if anything close to forecast holds true, I'm a little less concerned on the rice side directly. Rice, again, we do grow it in a flood. We always say too much of anything is a bad thing. So it's not that there are no negatives, but rice does have a tendency to survive those conditions a little bit better. I'm more concerned with our levee situation in rice, this type of volume of water and what it's going to do to erode our levees in fields, and what that's going to mean for having to rebuild them, reseed them. Replant seed may not really exist this year for rice, so that's going to be a whole other conversation as we get through this. The corn and soybean side, certainly a different animal. We don't grow those things in a flood. We know that they're not very tolerant, and at a planted seed, plant still in the ground, not emerged to very small seedling stage, we're going to hope that this system moves through and the rain and that water can get off the fields very quickly to not cause issues.
It's sped us up a little bit. There's definitely a sense of urgency. I don't know that we'll necessarily run the guys any harder than we usually do because of it. We try to run pretty hard anyway. But
remember, all of the streams and rivers and bios, all of those begin to back up and out. We usually end up in a position where our drainage limitations are just overrun. So even though we may have good drainage, once all those areas become completely inundated and flooded, there's nowhere for water to go. The idea of it raining, we'll say 2 to 3 inches per day for like 4 days is just going to keep stacking and building and leading to flooded, saturated soils for an extended period. Nobody was really excited for the 2025 season to begin with, and this is kind of not the answer we were looking for to kind of end this early planting progress, the break we needed. Everybody was looking for a nice rain to settle the dust, put some moisture back, and hopefully go back to work, but this looks like an extended break with way more rain than anybody bargained for. So we like for forecasts to be accurate. We like to complain when they're not accurate. This is one time I don't think anybody's going to be complaining much.
I've got some guys going in to put a few levee gates in, and some of the bottom levees, I don't know if I'll have time to get all our gates in that we have on levees we have pulled, so we're going to make sure we get them in the bottoms, make sure levees don't wash. Get drains pulled on ground that we're ready to plant rice on. That way it'll dry out faster and we can get ahead of that. Running hard, just trying to get ahead of everything like everybody else.